Good morning, boys and girls. I've talked to a lot of you over the last few months, and a lot of you have told me about how your families have planted really pretty flowers or new bushes or even gardens in your backyard. So this morning, I thought that I might try to plant something too. I've had this empty planter in my office for the last little bit, and Miss Sherry cut off a piece of some greenery so I can finally plant it. So come on, guys, let's plant. Look at him, he's so happy. I mean, I'm dirty. Like, I've got dirt and now water all over me, but that's okay because he's really happy and he's gonna love being in my office. So let's head inside and talk about our Bible story this morning. Look at him. He's so happy in his new home. I'm so glad you guys got to do this with me. One thing that I have found about planting flowers, or really any plant, is it's basically impossible to do it without getting a little bit dirty. When I came back inside, I had dirt on my hands, a little bit on my dress, some water, like dirty water. You get dirty. I couldn't plant this little cute little viney thing without getting a little bit dirty. And I want to come back to that in a minute. But for right now, I want to jump into our Bible story this morning, which comes from Luke chapter 10. You see, what happened is an expert of the law came to Jesus and asked him, "What must I do to inherit eternal life?" And Jesus looked at him and said, "Well, what does the Bible say to do?" And the man replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." And Jesus affirmed him. He said, "That is exactly what you are supposed to do." But then the man asked, "Who is my neighbor?" And Jesus, doing what Jesus does best, told the man a story, or a parable. Let's take a look at Luke chapter 10, verses 30 through 35. In reply, Jesus said, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road when he saw the man, but he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. 'Look after him,' he said, 'and when I return I will reimburse you for any extra expense you have made.'" Now there's something that we need to know about this story. The man who was beaten on the side of the road was a Jew. And Jews and Samaritans did not get along. The Samaritan was the last person that a Jew would expect to help him. Yet the priest and the Levite, the people we would expect to stop and help, walked by on the other side of the road. They were going somewhere, and they didn't want to get their hands dirty. They saw the need, but they walked on by and ignored it. They stayed silent. They didn't show love, and they didn't show kindness. The priest and the Levite told others to show love, but they didn't take the opportunity to love their neighbor when their neighbor was in need. Yet the Samaritan came and saw a need, and he did what he could. He got down on his hands and knees and he bandaged this man's wounds. He found him a bed to sleep in so he could get rest and heal, and he paid for the supplies and for the place to stay. It probably wasn't like a clean thing to do to bandage the wounds. It probably meant that he got wherever he was going a little bit late. But he chose to stop and to help this man, and he got his hands dirty. Being kind and loving means that we sometimes get our hands dirty. It's one thing to say that we're kind and that we love others, but love and kindness should be actions, not just words. When I planted this little guy a little bit ago, I had to get my hands dirty. We said earlier that it's impossible to plant without getting our hands dirty. And in the same way, sometimes loving other people and being kind means doing the right thing even when it's hard. It means getting our hands dirty. It's more than just words, it's actions. Jesus reminded us that we need to love our neighbors. And our neighbor includes the people we disagree with. Jesus didn't tell us to love one person and hate another. Jesus told us to love the neighbor we disagree with, the neighbor who looks differently than we do, the neighbor who believes something differently than we do. We don't have to agree with people to show them love. So we need to stop letting our differences dictate who we love and how we love them. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty if it means showing love and kindness to your neighbor. Boys and girls, how can you share love and kindness this week? I want to hear your ideas, so comment below and let me know how you plan on getting your hands dirty by sharing Jesus' love and kindness this week. I love you guys. What should I name him? Any thoughts? Is it a boy? Is it a girl? I don't know. I think it's a boy. I think it's a boy plant. Fred? Fred seems like a good boy plant name. Oh, if it's a girl, it could be Ivy. I kind of like that. Okay, so let me know how you can show love and kindness, but also give me some name suggestions, okay? All right.